Hey everybody, SDM Kahuna back again on the SDM Podcast, joined with the illustrious, the intelligent, the articulate, and just downright nice guy, Outcast. How we doing, Outcast?
You know what? If it wasn't for you telling me these things every time, I don't think I'd have any sort of confidence in myself whatsoever.
It's the only way I can get you to... You know what, man? It's the only way I can get anybody to participate. So...
Yeah.
Anything for the win. And speaking of participation, this is podcast number 10. I'm actually quite impressed we've made it this far.
Number 10!
Number 10, starting way back in September with the wonderfully conceived SDM Destiny podcast.
Conceived, yeah. More like just thrown out there.
Well, you'd be amazed how often those two actually coincide.
Naked for all the world to see.
Again, you've got to take it to a dark place, and we've only just started.
That dark place is where I reside.
It's where you're most comfortable.
I just come out a little bit in the light just to do the podcast with you, and then I'll just hide back in the darkness.
Don't come out, man. That's a whole different kind of podcast.
Maybe we do that next time.
Maybe next week. Stay tuned, folks. Big announcements. But anyway, so moving it right along from outspoken personal statements. Well, last podcast, we did a quick number on the recap of the SDM Christmas giveaway. So far, it has been the SDM Christmas. We're still trying to give things away, people. You know where to look. You know what to do. Please get in touch. Not gonna rehash it. Outcast and I, waiting to hear from you. Please get in touch. But moving swiftly on to the news. So this week's been quite an interesting week. Certainly a few changes in the game escape. We're obviously hitting that little kind of lull period in between the end of January, kind of post-Christmas releases, and some of the early year kind of new releases. So moving on, probably what is the biggest bit of news this week, which is the Battlefield Hardline beta started up yesterday. So,
my God, again. Doing it again?
Yeah, well, you were part... You did the closed beta. There's actually a video on your channel, or two videos on your channel about it. It's like, well, what was your personal opinion?
I tried, but then they decided that you're not getting to do that. That's bad. So I could only do, like, I don't know what I did, but I did some stupid video anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's Battlefield. A bit, I would say close quarters, but it feels more close quarters than what normal Battlefield would normally be.
See, that strikes me as a weird concept for Battlefield.
I mean, it's not like COD close quarters, but it's still closer than what it usually is. But, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. I mean, yeah. I don't know how long it'd be before you got super bored out of it, because at the end of the day, it's not like the usual Battlefield where you're running, you can, like, jump in helicopters and tanks, and, you've got masses and masses and miles of land to do whatever from. You've got all these buildings that people can hide in and blah, blah, blah. But it is fun. And the closed beta was fun as well, I've got to admit. But
it does strike me as they've got some really interesting concepts. I mean, I like some of the dynamic kind of checkpoint kind of games. It's like I've seen trailers of, you capture points of vehicles and you got to be on the move. Various little odds and sorts like that. So it's kind of interesting to try and see them taking Battlefield in a different direction. I mean, from what I can see from the trailer, gunplay and everything looks identical to what we've had before. And,
oh, yeah.
That's not a criticism. That's just an obvious fact. We know what Battlefield feels like. You got your scope drift, you've got your bullet drop. There's a quick time to kill in the game. It's certainly, it's right up there with COD for just out-and-out lethality of the guns. You know what you're getting when you step into Battlefield. Changing it from pure military-based to cops and robbers in a kind of urban environment. I mean, I think we all get kind of hints of 1993 Michael Mann's Heat,
Oh, yeah.
If I'm going to be anybody, I'm going to be Val Kilmer, seriously.
Badass.
Well, so you got a choice between Pacino, De Niro, and Kilmer. I know who I'm choosing every day of the week.
No, I do like the... I mean, that's always a case where, if you're doing something right, don't change it, because you might F it up. But, I mean, changing the scenery as such isn't really that much of a difference for Battlefield. Rather than it being, like I said, a little bit more close quarters. I mean, I'm more of a COD fan myself. I know I'm probably going to get some flack for that, but I think it's because I don't know. I just really struggled with Battlefield with the range of things. You know, how far across the map people could be and actually kill you. You know, and I'm like, I can't see nothing. Who's over there? There's fog. There's flipping flames. There's smoke. There's everything in your way, and I can't see anybody. That's just me. You know, I like more of the closeness to it, but that's why I kind of liked Hardline, because it was a bit closer.
Bit more kind of not necessarily corridor based, but you had more focus on where the enemy were coming from.
And that's it. There's a focus. You know, everyone's focused on like what they're supposed to be doing, and they're all. I mean, they're not like they're getting funneled into an area, and you think, yeah, I'll just stand here and shoot down this funnel right here. But you know, there's a more of pattern that you can see. You know, you think, right, they're either going to come from there, here, there, or there. Not from. They're going to come from every place. Like normally in Battlefields, you know, they're going to come from behind you, and have just spawned at home base. You know,
certainly some interesting changes. I mean, I've seen things in the trailers like grappling hooks and various gadgets,
cool.
Various gadgets that are specific to Hardline. So kind of kudos for trying to take it in a different direction. I don't know how well received it's going to be. I must admit, I haven't downloaded the beta yet. I am going to give it a try before I form any kind of solid opinion on it. I'll be honest, 100% right, but now I'm very meh, not overly swayed by it. You know, I'm a long-time Battlefield fan, long-time COD fan, so we'll see what happens with it. But, it's good news for everybody. Download it, give it a go. It's on all platforms that are worthwhile playing on: PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4. Download it, give it a shout. It's open to the 8th. Well worth a try. Give us your opinions in the comments down below if you think it's good, think it's bad, anything you really see changed. Let us know. But probably my favourite bit of news this week, and it's just amazingly awesome. I posted a tweet about this last night when I saw it, and it's this week's Humble Bundle.
Oh my god!
How awesome is this week's Humble Bundle?
I about exploded.
I did explode.
I'm not going to tell you where, but I exploded when I seen that email. I got it this morning, actually. You must have got it or checked it out before I did last night.
Ironically, I got the email notifying me about it after I'd bought it.
See, you're too much on the pulse for that.
I was kind of like, wait, I feel a disturbance in the force.
My Star Wars force is tingling right now.
Well, that was something else. I can't quite tell.
As soon as I seen that email, I was like on that site. I was at work and everything. I'm like, I'm gonna buy it now.
Seriously, you've got like your base entry level, which was what? Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Oh, you got Knights of the Old Republic, Battlefront 2, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Academy, and Dark Forces. Well worth the entry level alone. Pay more than the average. You got KOTOR 2, Knights of the Old Republic 2. You got Republic Commando, which was one of the reasons I bought it.
Awesome game.
Love that game. It is immense. Empire at War Gold Edition. And
got both the Force Unleashed games, yeah.
You got both Force Unleashed games, but you had to pay over the $12 to get.
Which is like those. $8. Well, it converts to be about £8 or something.
It was around about £7.50 when I looked it up. Probably by the time PayPal put some charges and things onto it or whatnot, that's going to work out about £8 or so. It is so worth it. I mean, not only that. I mean, I really liked the first Force Unleashed game. I played the ever-loving hell out of that back out in the day when I had it on the 360.
I mean, that, and you're getting the Ultimate Sith edition of the
you're getting all
Force
the
Unleashed
add-on
game.
packs. You're getting
every single one of them.
I mean, one thing I always regretted, because I didn't want to spend the money on the DLC at the time, I didn't think it was worth it, was the Duels add-on that they gave for it. It's like you could be old Ben Kenobi fighting Darth Vader with and a lightsaber duel. How awesome is that?
There was was there not a Darth Maul one as well? We can fight Darth Maul. I can't remember.
I don't know if Maul was in it. I can't recall offhand, but it is so awesome. So many brilliant games, and what's more, it's for a good cause. People, it's raising money for charity. So get your asses over to humblebundle.com. If you don't have a PC, buy it, gift it to some friends who do. It's an awesome cause, and it's an awesome collection. There's a lot of good stuff in it. Please swing by, check it out.
Some of these older games, you don't need a fantastic computer to run them. I mean, Force Unleashed 1 and 2, obviously you're going to need something a little bit of an oomph, but things like Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, Jedi Academy, you're not really going to need you could do it on a dual core for Christ's sake. It's nothing really all that fancy.
Exactly.
I mean, Jedi Academy. Dear God, I played that game to death.
That's going back sometime.
That was the start of the origins of my online username.
Indeed,
It all started with Imperial Outcast. That was my name on the multiplayer for Jedi Academy, and it obviously quickly turned into something else by that point. But pretty good stuff.
Are you getting kind of misty-eyed on me now?
I'm getting misty-eyed.
Taking you back?
I feel like telling some stories and such, but we'll leave that for another time.
That's for another recap session. But moving swiftly on, other big news this week. Well, not so much news this week, but good news for those who don't own an Xbox One and do like to play COD. Is that the Havoc DLC is going to be available on both PlayStation 4 and PC, confirmed on the 26th of this month.
Ooh.
Again, it's like, Microsoft, I love you, I loathe you in equal measure. I hate these timed exclusive things. I hate the timed exclusives on Destiny on the PlayStation 4. I hate the timed exclusives on COD on the Xbox One. It's not going to make people buy a console. Stop it. Just...
Yeah.
Game developers, I don't care how much money they're throwing at you, stop doing it. You're depriving people of content from a game.
That's exactly it. They are literally depriving other people
The only people,
games.
Exactly. The only people who are suffering in these things are the people who, maybe your friend and player base is on the PlayStation 4, maybe your friend base is on PC, Xbox One. If you are not on the chosen console system, and PC always kind of comes out worse than this. Nobody ever releases content first for DLC on the PC. There's no first-party exclusives for PC. We do occasionally get games a couple of days before the consoles, but that's thanks to Steam more than anything else. But
love you, Steam.
We do love you, Steam, even though your pricing's gone a little haywire.
Yeah, I noticed that.
But that's a discussion for another week. Big gaming news, though. Anybody who has been watching the development, maybe even played the closed betas a couple of months ago on the Xbox, I thought I was aware, is Evolve. That is coming out in just a mere 6 days. That's coming out the 10th of February. A rather kind of a bizarre release date, to be honest.
It is. I was thinking that, actually. That is really a weird time for it to be. It looks good, though.
You know what? It's like, I did play a couple of games, and here's what I think. It's like, I love the Left 4 Dead series. Really did like those. They were brilliant fun. However, much like Borderlands, and much like we said last week, Destiny, Borderlands, Left 4 Dead, games like this all depend on you having a close player group to play with. These are all very sociable games. They require teamwork. Now, when I played it, I was playing it by myself. Nobody else had bothered to download it. And I was quite lucky. In all the games I played, I got to play as the monster. Now, that was pretty cool. But completely and utterly one-sided, because clearly every game I played against a team of people who'd just randomly be thrown into matchmaking. And there was no real challenge, because it's like, literally, I would run around for about the first 5 to 10 minutes of the match, whatever it was, eating up all the little innocent animals and building up my level to like level 2. You have evolved and gestated into something that has more flame breath and worse halitosis. It's like, okay, this is great, I feel powerful. Then I would run at this group of 4 random people, and it's going like, okay, which one's the medic? Stomp him first. That's it, game pretty much over.
Yeah.
Because, if you, I, and the rest of the monkeys were playing together, and we were a tight, cohesive unit, we'd be stacking up, trappers at the front, assaults at the front, medic at the back, so he's not going to get killed, all the control and DPS guys up front and centre, and then you stand a chance of bringing this thing down. However,
I mean, that's it with it, though, is it? It's pretty much a game where you actually have to be a team rather than just thrown into the to the midst of things and just like, I'll just shoot it, I'll die eventually.
There's not one from what I played. Excuse me. From what I played in the beta, there was no one class that was capable of bringing the monster down on its own.
Right.
And that's kind of fine, fair enough. You kind of expect that to a point. It's nice to be the raid boss for a change,
Yeah.
It's nice to be the big badass with the hit pool. The hit point pool who can just sit there and soak that shit up all day and then just stomp on some guys. And you do feel very powerful, and it is very satisfying.
Eat it and spit it out.
funny enough, that is one of your attacks. Pick up smash. Bang! It's like, take that, puny human. But, yeah, it's like, again, another game. I'm kind of hoping that Turtle Rock Studios, Turtle Rock Studios, I was going to say Turtle Beach there, I had to think twice. I'm kind of hoping Turtle Rock Studios get some good traction with it. I'd like to see it's difficult to launch a new IP, and it's certainly difficult to try and follow on from games like Left 4 Dead, which are really well established in that genre, but pit everybody against the AI to basically change out computer-controlled AI for one super-powered human-controlled opponent. It's an interesting idea, but how much longevity is the question I have about that type of game.
Yeah, I mean, is it going to be the case where you think, yeah, it was fun for a little while, and now it's kind of blah?
Exactly. How long is it going to take you to unlock everything, and is there going to be much point? Are you going to see any real difference to the game?
I mean, you're probably going to spend a lot of time in a single game when you think about it. You know, if it's getting played right, you know for a fact that, well, if both sides are playing the game right, I mean, if the human side's playing, as a team and doing really well, and if obviously the alien side of things, if that person is doing what they're supposed to be doing, then these games could last for like 15 minutes to half an hour, surely.
There's definitely possible. I think there was like a 25-minute countdown timer on the game.
Oh, well, there you go, yeah.
That was like the upper limit that they were aiming for, and then it was considered a tie. But yeah, again, I wish Turtle Rock Studios the best of luck with it. Check the Evolve main site out, go take a look at it. If it's something you guys are interested in, I myself can't see myself buying it, unfortunately, but I'd like to get behind it. I'm intrigued to see what they do with it.
It depends on the pricing for me.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I'm a cheapskate, because, I spend money here, there, and everywhere just on random gaming,
Mr. Moneybags.
Mr. Moneybags over here. But you know what it's like when you're buying games, like, oh, I've got to have that one. Oh, I've got to have that one. But
yeah, it definitely falls under that category of maybe.
If it's going to be worth your time, I don't mind parting with the money. If I know the game's going to last me a while, like Dying Light, I know for a fact that game is going to last me a long time.
Well, that is such a smooth and silky segue into the next news story, isn't it?
Did you see what I did there?
I see what you did there. I'm well impressed.
But that game will last me countless hours, I would imagine, for my $39.99.
And speaking of the next news story, Super Smash Brothers. No, just kidding.
No!
No.
Oh, that worked for nothing.
Smash Brothers, you fool. None of us own anything by Nintendo now. That's probably going to lose us another couple of years here and there. But
I'll quickly retract that statement. I actually do own a few.
You do own a lot of Nintendo.
Original Nintendo stuff. I mean, my old retro collection is stacking up for Nintendo stuff. So.
You know what it is? I really do want to buy one of the new 3DSs, but I can't validate it just to play Pokemon. I just can't do it, man. It's one game.
I know. I like Pokemon games too. That's the thing. You know what? I like the idea that every Pokemon game is a different universe.
Yeah, that's always fun.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Moving swiftly on. Dying Light, as we were quite rightfully saying. I was playing a little bit before we started up in the podcast this evening. You have just recently acquired it. And yeah, we're not the only ones. Techland are reporting 1.2 million players have logged in.
1.2? Holy moly.
You know what? It's like when you consider the fact that games like Destiny, which are probably one of the bigger mass-marketed AAA title releases of 2014, is reporting 3.2 million players every week. For something that is kind of niche, and something following on from a game which didn't have a fantastic reputation, 1.2 million. Well done, Techland. Congratulations, guys. I'm really pleased that Techland have gone out, because it's like, for people who don't know, Techland did the original Dying Light, which suckered everybody in with that fantastic CGI trailer.
Yeah.
With the slow motion running through the hotel, and the daughter trying to make it back to the room, and the family getting eviscerated, and it was wonderfully emotive. And then we're all crushed by the fact that the game had absolutely nothing to do with that, other than it involved zombies.
Yeah.
But I have to say, Dying Light won an award for me, and that had to be best original song in the soundtrack. I absolutely fucking adored "Who Do You Voodoo Bitch." It was so catchy.
Oh yeah.
by Baron Samedi. That was awesome. It's like it was the only intro in history I'd never skipped, because that would always get me in the frame of mind. It's like, and you know what? Get it up on iTunes, get it on Spotify, put it somewhere so I can get a copy of it. It's just an awesome little catchy track, and I'm so white it's unbelievable. But you know what? I did like what Dead Island did. Although the game was glitchy and had its issues and wasn't particularly pretty, the drop in drop out co-op, the weapon crafting system, the complete and utter lack of firepower.
Oh yeah.
and the subtle variances in the zombie types, and quite an expansive play area to run around. That worked very well. Now, what I'm really pleased for Techland is, I was watching some developer footage of Dead Island 2, and I literally pretty much rubbed my eyes in disbelief when I saw it. It's like, first thing I noticed is like, one of the things the character's carrying around is like what appears to be a gun melded with a blowtorch.
What?
And it's like projectile weapons, and it's got this completely, utterly oversaturated color scheme that makes it look... Actually, the color palette's not too dissimilar from Sunset Overdrive. It's hyper bright. The saturation is whacked up to 11, and I'm like, this is a zombie game?
This is Sunset Over? No? Okay.
Oh, Sunset Over Island?
Sunset Over the Island.
Sunset's over... Oh, man, I see what I did there.
Yeah.
That works, actually. But I was kind of like, really? You guys have bought Techland's name for Dead Island. And Dying Light is Dead Island 2 and is far superior from what I can see in tone,
yeah,
and setting from Dead Island 2. Now, that remains to be seen. Dead Island 2 might be a fantastic game. I'm not judging it before I play it, but what I am responding to is what my eyes have told me. I'm kind of like, I don't kind of like what I'm seeing. But
yeah,
that being said, I mean, I'm not going to be all fanboying out in the background here, but, you know, Dying Light hasn't been without issues. It wasn't until yesterday, when patch 1.3.1 came out, that I actually got a stable frame rate. And one of the patch notes in that release, for PC anyway, was the fact that they'd addressed some performance issues on the 970 GTX. Which was great, because that's my graphics card. It's like, thank you.
It's mine too!
Because there was nothing worse than be sitting there, and it's like, you know, my frame counter would be sitting there chugging away at, like, indoors hitting about 114 frames a second, outdoors about 85, I'd be beating some zombies around the skull, and then all of a sudden I get a weird audio glitch in 2 frames a second, and I'm like,
The worst part is knowing that your graphics card actually is a beast, and for some reason it's acting like a little flipping piddly paddle thing.
It's one of these things we've always run into with PC gaming, is optimization. I mean, there's this million different flavors and variety of hardware you can have in your system, as there are flavors of Baskin and Robbins. You know, it's like there's a lot to choose from.
I'm a Ben and Jerry's man myself.
Ben and Jerry's, get out of my face. It's Häagen-Dazs or nothing.
Oh, well, you know, everyone likes a bit of Häagen-Dazs.
Everybody likes a bit of Häagen-Dazs. It's the classy central ice cream.
It's totally classy.
But, yeah.
It's the ice cream you take home to Mama.
Oh, that wasn't weird, but okay.
I thought that was smooth, but okay. Just like Häagen-Dazs.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this one now, actually. Moving on. Okay, in a little bit of random news, and furthering belittling my faith in Games Workshop, the latest development in the Warhammer 40k franchise, moving on from such giants as the Dawn of War series.
Oh my god, I love Dawn of War 2.
Dawn of War, I have every single expansion. And I paid full price for every single expansion.
Yep.
You know,
so did I. Every single one of them.
Dawn of War 2. Brilliant. Completely different game. But, you know, Chaos Rising. Excellent addition. And it's like, Games for Windows Live platform. Okay, not the world's best choice.
We can handle that.
Space Marine. A couple of years ago. Fantastic game. Absolutely brilliant. Well executed.
The third-person one.
That was the third-person cover-based shooter. Well, not cover-based shooter, because you're a goddamn Space Marine captain. You are your own cover in that power armor. But brilliant game. Well executed. Fun to play. And Mark Strong. Brilliant choice of voice talent. excellently voice acted as well. You can't say fairer than that. But now we've got on the horizon Warhammer 40k Regicide. There's probably a few people out there scratching their heads. What the hell is that? And as was I when I stumbled across it. And it appears to be a Warhammer 40k themed battle chess game?
Yes. If you say so.
If I say so. But the only thing positive I can say about it is the fact that it's obviously in development process right by now. And as we've seen with games, as we were kind of banging on about early access the other week, you know, smaller games developers are trying to get you involved and get your money in sooner to secure the title and develop it. And it's like, I don't really see how much development time it takes to make a chess-based game. There can't be that much in graphics and sheer physical resources in the game. I understand that from what I've seen, there appears to be like different battle options and kind of Overwatch choices. It's not your standard traditional chess. It is turn-based. Kind of more Space Hulk on a chessboard.
Space Hulk's good.
Space Hulk's awesome, man.
I like that. I played that.
I missed that. But
you know what? At least the Regicide, it's got a decent name for it. I mean, what is that, like King Killer or something in Latin, I think?
It is indeed. You are a well-versed and intelligent man.
Yeah.
It is to kill a member of royal family, I believe. I'm sure I'll get corrected in the comment section down below.
Yeah, I just
off the top of
my head, you know.
I'd love to be corrected in the comment section down below, please.
I'd love to be spanked as well. I mean, yeah.
Oh, for the love of God, man. Seriously.
I can't help myself.
But yeah, swing past, 40k Regicide, Google it, check out the main site. There's some cool. Actually, there's like the one thing I would buy into if it weren't for the fact I'm so skeptical about the game is some of the development packages are quite nice. They got like nice T-shirts, and then you go up to the more expensive packages. You get like these really cool art design hoodies, with like orcs or space marines, and then you get like those ones with like limited edition art lithographs of like space marines and stuff like that. Some really cool stuff. If you're a 40k collector, there's probably some really nice things in there for you.
That would be nice for a 40k collector, I would say. Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, I'm a big Blood Angels fan from back in the day as well. But
oh hell yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult to. I don't know. We'll keep an eye on that. But another suitable tie-in, and probably our last news story of this week is you've been doing a gameplay series on Life is Strange, probably the big indie title of this week.
Yeah,
been garnering a lot of interest from a lot of folk.
It has been. It is a beautiful looking game, and I mean and I don't mean beautiful as in it's got the highest of the high textures and quality and blah 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 blah, because it doesn't. It's no, and by no means is it like a fully blown out game, but it still looks really nice and crisp. The only thing is I feel a little bit uncomfortable playing it.
Now, why is that? What's making you uncomfortable, man?
The uncomfortable part of it,
just you and me. Come on, talk to me, man.
Just you and me, right? You play a female character, which obviously isn't a problem. You play many female characters, but the thing is, you're going through what would seem like an everyday kind of college girl, sophomore year, kind of everyday life of a college girl.
Is this one of your weird fantasies again? You're just trying to sucker me in?
I'm not, honest to God, because it makes it look, for a guy, it kind of feels like you're looking into something that you shouldn't really be seeing.
Is it making you feel guilty to be a man?
It is a little bit, like the life of a woman, and you're seeing right through her eyes, and like a young woman at that, a young American teen, and then like you're going into like, I'll put some spoiler alerts up. Spoiler! You go into some areas and they've got pregnancy tests in the rooms, and you're like, oh my god, and they've got like boy troubles, and it's like, yeah, I don't really care too much because I'm a guy, but it is a good game.
It seems to be drawing you in though. It's like, I must admit,
it is drawing me in.
It's not one that's flagged my must playlist.
The thing is, it hasn't flagged me in the slightest. When I just bought it because it was an episodic game, and I'm kind of drawn to episodic games for some reason, even though I kind of go towards the thing is I hate episodic games, but for some reason I still buy them as soon as I see them. But that's the thing, Life is Strange never when I seen it I was like, nah, it looks good, it's Square Enix, I don't care, blah blah blah. But it kind of makes you feel like you shouldn't be watching what's happening, because it's not, as a man anyway, you've never really experienced that. Like they're talking about boys and troubles with boys and there's like pregnancy test stuff and there's like he cheated on me and you're seeing it from the opposite side as such. So as a man, that feels very uncomfortable. But then you've got the crazy you turning back time powers, so that kind of draws you back in. You're like, oh yeah, okay, I could get this. Got the sci-fi superpowers now, right? But now I've got to wait until the next part comes out, and I kind of feel like, damn.
Well, see, that kind of... I mean, it's certainly... Like I said, that's obviously what's been drawing a lot of attention is the highly female-centric storyline on it. And that's great. We need that.
Yeah, we do.
In gaming, because it's like we have so many sexual and stereotypes and archetypes in all games, whether it be the overly vivacious female characters and the wonderfully over-testosterone male archetypes as well. It's nice to see some character development in games with a bit of depth, and I think we need to have a little bit more diversity, and it will draw more people in. It's like when people start to realise, and people have realised, because the female quotient of gamers has been steadily increasing over the years, it's becoming a less male... I was going to say dominated, that's not necessarily the word I'm looking for, but it's not so much a male-only club now. There are still a lot of really, really bad behaviours and archetypes. I mean, we played online far too long to know what the world is really like, and we're not being naive about it. If you're a woman gamer and you're playing online and you're in voice chat, unfortunately, you do run some very serious risks of some pretty petty, puerile, infantile abuse. But that being said, you and I have been on the receiving end of some petty, puerile, and infantile abuse, and we're fully grown men. I mean,
I spent quite a few years on games like City of Villains. I had a little clan there, and it was quite a lot of actual female players on there as well. And you'd even hear it sometimes, or see it in text form. You're like, oh my god, what's the problem? Yes, she's female, fantastic. And then, like Star Wars Galaxies as well, I spent pretty much most of my teenage/early 20s playing that non-stop, unfortunately for me. And I mean, I've been on the forefront of the abuse as well, It's been, I think women do get, we're kind of going off the topic, but women do get the, sometimes, a really bad, I don't know, they just get some really bad treatment on games. And I hate that whole gamer and gamer girl kind of title as such. I just think if you're a gamer, it's not really a gender thing, is it? It's not
it's a pastime.
Exactly. I'm a gamer. It's just like I'm a doctor. Is there a female, for plural for being a female doctor? Is there? Right.
I know where you go with that. Actually, it's fun enough, and I think we'll draw a line under it with this one. But when you take a title or anything and you're applying it to any formal document, you have the definition of Mr., Mrs., Ms., but doctor applies to both male and female. Same with other titles as Reverend and whatnot. So,
but anyway, back on topic, Life is Strange. Anyway, yeah, it is a really good game, and it gives you a little bit more insight into the female condition. And
I don't think condition is the right word to use.
I think we're all conditioned, but yeah,
in some form or another.
At the end of the day, it's showing you life. It is showing you actual...
And is it the fact that life is strange?
It is strange. You're seeing a bit more of actual what goes on in people's day-to-day life in game form, and the fact it is strange and strange things do happen. So it's good stuff.
Indeed. Well, as long as you're enjoying it, and I know you've got some videos up on your channel about that now, so,
more to come.
Swing across, check it out on the Outcast channel. You know where to find him, you know who he is, you know what to do. And sticking with the same format that we rolled with last week, this ties us in nicely to our discussion point for the week, which Outcast, as you quite rightfully drew attention to, episodic based games.
My god.
Games where you no longer pay a fixed price to buy the game, and then the game is yours. You have the whole complete finished experience. No longer is a game where you spend your purchase fee and then pay a monthly subscription, or go free to play, or buy your full price game and then buy DLC. This is a game that you spend a price on, and you will get the story distributed to you over a period of time.
And sometimes that period of time could be a lot longer than you thought it was going to be.
A lot longer than you initially anticipated. And that's my kind of query about it. I mean, I love the Telltale game series. I think Telltale do this better than anybody else. I waxed lyrical about the Walking Dead series. Love those games. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
And more importantly, so that for me, Walking Dead worked because it's a comic book. You know, I'm used to ingesting Walking Dead in weekly sections.
Mm-hmm.
Or waiting till the collected edition comes out and then buy the graphic novel and then boom, 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 and the story's constantly ongoing. That's great. It's like a TV series. However, with most games, it is a juxtaposition. It's like if the content works, I think it's a really good plan. But you yourself, you've mentioned that you've got some mixed feelings about the subject matter.
I do. I mean, in no way is episodic gaming a new thing. I mean, when you look right back to the past, I mean, DLCs really technically were the episodes of their day. You've had like expansion packs for online games as such. Let's say Star Wars Galaxies, you had expansion packs. You had like the Jump to Lightspeed expansion pack where you'd get a bit more of a story. And then you'd get more like the, just more packs like the Mustafar missions and stuff like that. You get more of a story.
You can go even further back than that. You've got
Exactly.
LucasArts titles back in the early 90s where you'd buy the game and then maybe a year or so later, 2 years later, there'd be like the add-on pack for it with, more story and more missions, but you still needed to have the original to be able to play it.
Exactly. But then the thing is with that, obviously, you had the original retail price, which is fair enough because you did get hours upon hours of enjoyment out of that, and then you paid like pretty much half of what the original would have cost you again to get the expansion packs as and when they came out. I mean, I've noticed so far with the current episodic, we're calling it episodic gaming now, where they're not that expensive, and that's a good thing.
I'd say they're about half. Well, normally the ones I've seen on PC anyway, about half the entry level price of a normal game. I mean, one we mentioned last week and one I know you've probably got your eyes on, even though you said you weren't interested, was Resident Evil Revelations 2.
Yeah, I will be buying that.
Yeah, what, 20 quid, and it's what, 6 episodes?
All 6 episodes for £20, and you cannot argue with that. I mean, it was the same with Life is Strange. That's episodic, 5 episodes, and I think it was $14.99 or something like that for all of them. And fair enough, that's no any means by a AAA title or anything like that, but I mean, Resident Evil Revelations 2 is, and for that price, I mean, yeah, it's really damn good. The only problem is you have to wait, and at the end of the day, I think Life is Strange, the first episode was an hour and a half long. And that's how long it took you. And I mean, that wasn't by any means a speed run through it. That was just like, a quick saunter through the game, storyline. You can go back and, check out other things on it. There's probably little achievements and whatnot to get.
That you missed, yeah.
Yeah, but, I mean, so if you're talking 6 episodes, I mean, that's like, what, 8-9 hours, pretty much? If, minimum.
And when you think about it, it's like what a lot of people do. There's a lot of issue and complaint these days saying it's like, oh, I've just bought this brand new AAA title and the single player campaign, I completed it in 6 hours. Yeah. And I've just spent £50 on this game, or $60 in the US, or whatever your equivalent full price retail value for a game is, wherever you may be in the known world. And it's like, that only gave me X amount of time. These games are very cheap.
Oh, yes.
And give you more bang for your buck. But for me, sometimes the biggest issue is, like I said, that the biggest hypocritical statement I can make is, while I love Telltale and the Walking Dead series, that was fine. It's like, for most of these episodic games, I would only buy them after everything has been released.
That's the same with me. I did that with the Wolf Among Us. I just waited and waited until all of them came out, and then I got it, and I was like, I'm happy with that. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's like you're saying, you're paying, half the usual AAA title price, and you're getting just as much time out of it, if not sometimes more. And to be honest, I mean, you get a lot of people arguing, like, oh yeah, I've just completed this AAA title in like 6 hours. I'm like, yeah, but did you run through it again on maybe a harder difficulty? Have you went back and got all the the little collectibles and such like that? Because there's all that farming as well. You got achievement farm it. Even some games don't have achievements, but you can get like in-game items and whatnot that can make your character more badass, even though technically you don't need to because you complete the game. But I mean, that's where I just think, yeah, episodic gaming, it does have its bad points, but it has some really damn good points these days. And if you can hold out and not buy anything at all, like you just wait for the however many weeks or months that I think Revelations is going to be over a month period, though, isn't it?
I think so, from what I can recall. I need to go back and double check the exact dates.
That's not a long time.
It's not, but if you're getting like 90 minutes out of each section, it's one of these things. Though, it's like for me, it's like with a Resident Evil game, I'd rather probably sit down and be able to crack through the whole thing in not necessarily a single sitting, but know if I wanted to, I've got the rest of the game there for when I want to play it.
But then that's it, though. The episodic gaming, if you look at it from a developer standpoint, it's basically letting all those, let's say, weekend gamers, your casual gamers, they try to fit in some gaming whenever they can, much like myself at the moment anyway, where you try to fit in a little bit of gaming maybe at the weekend or maybe one night during the week, and you're not going to really have time to sit there for 6 hours and play this game on, solid.
Yeah.
So, that's what it does. You're like, oh, well, you know what, I'll buy the first episode. If I like it, fair enough. If I don't like it, I won't buy any of the other ones, or then I'll buy the season pass because I know I'm going to like it, but I don't really have a lot of time, so it's not like I'm bothered about waiting an extra week or so until the next part comes out. So, there's different views, I think, from it, and not all of them are good, but not all of them are bad either. So
it certainly appears to be working. We're seeing more and more of it, and as gamers, what do you guys think? Is this something you want to see more of? Are you more kind of old school and want to buy you a game and kind of one and done, be good to go, or are you more comfortable with, I'm used to buying a game and then getting buying a season pass and then getting a year's worth of content over and above that? Every 3 months you'll get another pack, a la Call of Duty, a la Battlefield. They've really popularized that, getting the money out of you. And it's like a lot of people say, oh well, they've already developed the game, they've already made it, why do they need more money out of me? It's like, well, these people aren't sitting in the office, on goodwill alone. They've got families to feed themselves. So, business is business. Nobody ever woke up saying, what can I give away free today? But, there are some questionable practices with some of the stuff that does go on.
And it seems to be getting cheaper for us as gamers to actually, purchase these games.
Funnily enough, I would have said the opposite. I'd actually say it's getting more expensive.
But really, with the things like season passes and such?
Yeah, well, it's like when you think about it, actually, it's like we knew when the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 came out that, the cost of buying a game physically in the store was going to increase, and it had done. If you go to, your supermarkets are still reasonably priced, but they're still more expensive than what the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 games were at launch. You were sub £40 for most of those. Mm-hmm. You can walk into any Tesco's, any Asda right about now, and you'll be about £46 for your average new release title.
Yeah.
If you walk into your game specialist store, you're paying $50, $55. Now, these are the same games that cost the same amount of money to develop, that when they've got the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 versions, are £10, £15 less. Or if you can find like a CD key site, you might get a good digital distribution deal. Even Steam's gone up in price. I actually find myself now in the opposite environment with Steam now, where I'll actually go to the high street store, buy the game and install it because it's cheaper than buying it direct from Steam. But maybe that's what we can do for the next discussion point, is game pricing. Where's that
game pricing? Definitely, I've got a few points on that one.
A few ones on that one. But anyway, I think we'll draw a line under it there for this evening. It's been a somewhat more serious, more adult podcast this week. I'd like to thank anybody who's been with us, for sticking with us for this point. Outcast, again, thank you for joining me on the podcast. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
10 episodes!
10 episodes! Who'd have thought? Who would have thought? But a little heads up to the SDM community. We are going to be doing some Dying Light stuff. That's going to be coming up in the next week or so.
Some joint forces.
There was going to be a challenge video on COD, but unfortunately due to some technical difficulties, namely audio, that one didn't quite go ahead.
I won it, by the way, guys, just so you know.
I do still have the video. I do still have the audio recording as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Hacks. You'll never see it. You'll never see it, but he was pulling some serious hacks.
I'm not going to say anything, people. I don't think I have to. I think it's that straightforward. The people know.
I'm finished with you. I'm out of here.
No, you're not. But, no, man, it's been a pleasure having you on again. So, peeps, stay tuned to the channel. We got more content upcoming. We'll have some Dead... Oh, God, I was going to say Dead Rising there. I'm playing that in the Xbox One as well at the moment. Dying Light. We're going to have some content on that coming up. I'm going to have a preview. Sunset Island. The zombie vacational paradise you've never dreamed of. But anyway, thanks again for listening, folks. Abby, thanks again, man, for joining us. Sorry for using the real name there.
That's it. My career's ruined.
That's it. Everybody knows now. But thanks again for listening, folks. And this is SDM Kahuna signing off.